there are certain things that I need to look after. So let me not waste more time. Let me just quickly come to this session. So today's session is, as you know, everybody knows that's about grief. And everybody thinks, including me, when I was going through this, I just thought that maybe grief is there. I mean, it is one of the emotions that is there uh, within us. And we just need to see from where this emotion is coming from. That's it. And I used to just put a full stop after that. But it was only after certain experiences that I realized that grief is more than that. Grief is just not a very small word with few alphabets. It's more than that. So today we are going to talk about this grief, and we are going to understand that how is it different from sadness, because I absolutely was not aware that there is a lot of difference between the sadness part and the grief part, because usually we alternatively use the words sadness and grief, and we associate it with any kind of a loss that we have in our lives. So in case if there is anybody over here, because whenever I take the sessions, I want it to be very the sessions where they are very interactive. So I just would request any of you who knows that how is is there any similarity or difference between grief and sadness, or have you experienced any kind of a grief or sadness? I mean, any kind of these things. So can you please just come up and share your experience here first of all?
Sharuji, I mean, I don't have like that direct experience, but I always thought, like as you said, like grief is more related to very personal loss, whereas sad is um, more, I mean, which we experience on a daily basis, but may not be personal. I mean, this is just how I understand by words. So, of
Okay.
course, personally,
Okay.
there are the sad moments, but I think grief is more really, really, as you said, like something like a death of a loved one, or a pet, or something else like a heartbreak. Anything could be related to that. Yeah.
So don't you guys feel that when we speak this word grief, it's very heavy? Do you feel that heaviness in this word? But when we are
Yes.
saying sadness, it's okay. We are going to deal with it. But when we say or speak grief, doesn't it come with loaded with lot of loaded with different emotions like anguish, anger, shock, that kind of thing? Do you ever feel this kind of a feeling? Have you ever had this kind of a feeling before? Yes, Madhvi.
Good evening, Sharoo. Good evening, everyone.
Good
All the
evening.
masters. Yeah, when it comes to this grief and sadness, the topic is like, I have gone through all this. So maybe that's my personal experience, I would say. It's not something I can really describe about it, but something which I experienced it. You were right. Like grief is something, it's very heavy. It's really, really loaded with lots of tears and, screams and anger and everything. I think it's full bunch of negativity, or it's full bunch of depressive state of the human being. Like for example, the master said that Shashank just now, grief is something if you feel when your loved one is gone, or the pet or anything. Yes, something grief is not only that, but grief, not only these two people who have lost, but when you lost something, your passion also. Like you worked hard so badly to attain to that, to reach that passion, but your passion is gone away, and then that grief and that disappointment and that that sadness is so much that you cannot come out of it. It takes a while, actually. It is not like 1 year or 2 years which is coming out of it, which you cannot, unless and until there are really some masters. In my experience, I would say the Madhu was the one who took me out of that grief, I would say, because my mom was, my mom was really so much loved one, and I didn't know what I should do without her. That was completely like I was gone inside this earth, like completely got into that dig of hole where I closed myself, and like where I don't have any other way actually. Though I have everything, I have my daughter, I have my job, I have my husband, I have my plants, I have everything around, I have my family, but I have my passions also, and also the friends. But that grief made me so into deep that I have no way to come out it. And unless and until somebody pulls you out, or somebody gives you or shows you a window to breathe, hey, come on, this is nothing, like you can come out of it. So that direction you needed, that is really heavy. Grief is really, really heavy. Sad is, okay, I can overcome it. Like today, I couldn't get the bus. Okay, tomorrow I can get it because I've lost the bus because I didn't go in time. So I missed the bus. I became sad because I went to this office for 2 hours late. And also if I don't get a good rest, what I liked it, also I'll become sad, something like that. But grief is really, really, it's a lot actually. I mean, that's why this topic is so interesting that I wanted to listen from you how best you will explain about it. And these are my experiences actually, which I've gone through in life actually. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, Madhu. Because, when I understood these two words, as I said already, that when we talk about grief and when we talk about sadness, both of them have a very different energies. Both of them arise because of the natural response to loss, but both of them, are very different. But before I dwell into that, I would also, I want to hear from Bella, because she was there. She wanted to speak something. So Bella, please come up.
Namaste, masters. I would just add up to what they said. So yes, it is more of a deeper wound. So if sadness is just a scratch on the surface, grief would be like way deeper one. This is like it is out of my experience. Yes, it is very heavy. Yes, it takes a lot of way longer to heal. Like years and years, and it's kind of like maybe you just carry a scar for it. It is especially when you lose like the loved ones, then the scar is there. Like it just not easy. I hope someday it goes away. Like for me, I've been dealing with it for 2 years and a half now, but still the burden is still heavy. Like some parts maybe with deeper healing, but the wound is like really deep. I hope someday we all heal from it, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you for hosting us while you're having your guests.
Thank you so much, Bella. Thank you so much for telling us about your experience. Absolutely. When we talk about sadness, it's just a scratch, as you described, and beautifully you described this, that, sadness is just a scratch. But when we talk about grief, it's like a deeper wound that needs healing, a kind of a healing. And I'm really, really glad that you came up and you shared this beautiful definition. So yes, friends, when we talk about grief and sadness, although, as I said, that these are natural responses to loss, both of them, and but grief is very heavy. Its energies are very heavy because it is not just laden with only one emotion. It is laden with different type of emotions. Like, it comes with shock, it comes with anger, guilt, and it also includes sadness. Okay. And when we talk about sadness, it is also a very natural arising when the loss is happening. But when we talk about sadness, it's very open-hearted. That's what I felt. And it's very open-hearted, and there is love inside there, because I know that I'm missing someone, and there's so much of love inside that particular word that, I know I'm missing that person, but yes, it is still there, but I know I can overcome it. But when I talk about grief is based more on fear. And when we talk about fear, it's like, The grief comes when we start asking the questions to ourselves, like, will that person be okay? Will that person, will I be okay? Will he or she be okay? What will I do without that person? And, what will I do without him? What will I do without her? When all these kind of, emotions come, these are all arising from the fear. And that is the reason the grief has a very contracted energy, because there's a lot of tension inside this particular one word. Because when you're feeling grief, not only you're feeling sad, but there are other emotions also involved. Because when we talk about sadness, we feel that, okay, I'm sad, but it's not going to last forever. But when it's grief, that it's like Bella said, it's a deeper wound that needs a lot of healing. So today I'm going to talk about little bit about grief. So how can we overcome it? And, what are the myths that are related to this word, simple word, not simple, the complicated word, grief. So number one, first of all, I would just would want to dwell upon the myths that are associated with this word. So I don't know whether you have experienced it or not, but yes, I have experienced it a lot of times in my life, and I'm going to share my experiences with you. So for example, the first myth that is there which relates to grief is that, the pain will go away if you are going to ignore it. So most of us, especially women, we always tend to see that, okay, the pain is going to go if we start ignoring it. And men also nowadays, it's not that, because men always, they're not very good at expressing. So they will keep something in store of, these emotions in store. And they just feel like, the pain is going to go away if you try to ignore it. But what happens is, when we start trying to ignore this pain, it makes it worse in the long run, because it starts resurfacing again and again, in very complicated situations, very complicated circumstances, because if we are not catering to that grief that we have inside. Sadness, yes, it will be catered to, and the sadness we will be able to overcome with time. But grief is something where we have to actually sit with this kind of an emotion. We really have to accept this and embrace this emotion, and then only will we be able to come out. Next important myth is that, which you might have heard so many times, that, we start feeling that it's very important to be strong in the, in the face of loss. So if we are losing someone very close, or something that is there with us, and if we lose that person or that thing, we feel that no, we as meditators, especially, because there are a lot of expectations which are attached to us, that ye to meditation karti hai, she meditates a lot, and she is a very strong person. So she will be able to come out of it, and she doesn't need any kind of a shoulder to lean on. She doesn't want any kind of a hand that to be lent to her. But everybody's wrong at that time, because I'm not a superhuman who always wants to wear a cape 24/7. I also want to take rest. Sharoo also wants to take rest somewhere. And she also wants to lie down. She is also vulnerable. So we also have to be very gentle with ourselves, because generally we are not. You might have seen probably the royal families as well. What do? They wear glares and all that stuff. And if they lose someone, you will see that the tears are hidden behind those, kind of glares that they're wearing, because they want to show this to people that, hey, we are strong, because they feel that we are the examples. We are setting an example to the society. So we cannot be vulnerable in front of them. So we have to be very strong. So no, we can't be strong all the time, not 24/7. We can't be strong. We have to accept that we are vulnerable at some point. This I got to know, when Patriji left his body. Because I just thought that maybe, because after my dad's death, I was able to come out of it. I thought that I came out of it. And although I worked on myself, and I knew I had an understanding, and angels were helping me out, and I'm grateful to them that they helped me a lot, tremendously. But this pain, which I had hidden somewhere in my heart, when my dad expired in 2019, it all of a sudden resurfaced during the death of Patriji. The first thing, what was the statement I said? Father, you left me again. Okay, so that was the emotion. And then I asked myself, where did it come from? So why am I thinking that dad has left me again? Why? Dad is still there, he's working from that other realm, and he's talking to me, he's talking from the other dimension to me. He's been guiding me all the time. And why is this coming? And then I just sat with myself, although it took a lot of time for me to come out of that stage of grief. But I came out of it, even if it was, it took me 10 flat days, to struggle with myself 24/7. I stopped talking to everyone. In fact, till the death of Patriji, I was in mourn. And after that also, when he left his body, I was not much of a, I was not talking to anyone. My health was deteriorating. And I just started, feeling them, which is this emotion? What is this emotion coming from? Where? So I got to know that it has still the unresolved pain of my, losing my dad, which is still there. And maybe because, I always felt this feeling that people are going to abandon me. I'm going to be lonely. So maybe there was some issue there still in my subconscious, maybe a minuscule of that in my subconscious, but it was still there, which came out during this episode that I had. And then I got to know that, Sharoo, no, you're still grieving. You got to come out of it, because if you don't, and if you don't embrace it, if you don't see from what is the root cause, if you don't see what is that core belief that is leading you down more and more, then till then you will not be able to even accept Patrisa's death, even if you are going to say that, yes, I have accepted it. Even if, it's like I started feeling that I'm a bipolar. There is one me who is accepting everything, who knows everything, who understands everything. But there's another vulnerable me, a sensitive me, who was not able to take it anymore. Because there was so much that was happening inside of my life. It was like as if everybody had started leaving me. It was something like that. So there were two Sharoos in one body at that time. So I was constantly struggling with myself. I was constantly struggling with my own self. But thankfully, with these kind of experiences, because these are kind of tests that are being thrown at you by the universe when you start working with the angels. And thankfully, angels have been throwing such tests at me regularly, on the regular basis, so that I get to know where I stand. And then I worked on myself. So I realized that no, Sharoo, there's no need to be strong in the, in the face of any kind of loss. Cry like a baby. You want to be sad, you want to be, you want to howl, please do that. There's nobody who's stopping you. So I cried, I howled for those days. Even if my kids used to come, they knew that I was going through something, but yes, they did not barge into my privacy. But yes, when I was okay, they always supported me that we are here. You want to talk to us, it's okay. I used to say, no, I'm going to be okay. It's okay. I know how to handle myself. And I did. But yes, one lesson, the Sharoo can't be strong all the time, 24/7. No, Sharoo can be vulnerable as well. Then another myth which is associated with grief, which I have realized is, which people say that if you don't cry during any kind of loss, means that you're not sorry. How come these myths, start associating with people? I don't understand. So I will tell you, one of the experiences that I had in my relations itself. So one of my relative's sister-in-law, she committed suicide. Okay, so that was her choice, her soul's choice, that she committed suicide. But That lady who was there, my relative, she did not cry during her death when she left the body. She did not cry. Now, there were so many speculations about that girl, that daughter-in-law, that she did not cry because she doesn't feel anything, because she's not sorry that she went off. Maybe she's the reason behind her death. So there were so many speculations and assumptions about that lady. And there were so many people who were trying to point out at her character, her nature, her life. And I couldn't understand that if a person is not crying, is that a crime? Does that mean that, if you start crying and howling, is that only one normal response to grief or sadness where you can express? No, there's so many other ways to, express that sadness. And maybe she might be doing that, which people don't know anything about, just because she was not crying during the death of a relative. So that means, people started assuming things about her. So no, crying is a normal response to sadness, but it is not the only one response. So the people who cannot express their pain may still feel the pain inside as deeply as others. And that's what I realized during that time. Maybe they may not be having the other ways of showing it. Maybe they might be doing it in some other way. Maybe they might be, going to the NGOs and doing the work there so that they can, fulfill whatever the desire or dream or aspiration of that loved one who has passed away. Maybe she's doing that and she's not telling anybody about it. So that is also one of the myths that is there as far as the word grief is concerned. And then the last but not the least, which is one of the worst myths that are there that you can ever find in your relations, in your married life, or your relatives or friends, is that if you start moving on with your life, people start thinking that you have forgotten about your loss. So neither they want you to be happy, nor they want you to be sad. What they want you to do is you just keep moving into those circle again and again. That's what the society wants you to do. So even if a person is trying to move on with their lives, even if they want to, accept whatever has happened in their life, but still they will feel that no, you cannot move on, because if you are moving on, then probably you might have forgotten that person. Maybe I am moving on with my life, keeping that memory of that someone I've lost as intact, as a beautiful memory, or maybe an important part of me. But I'm trying to accept everything. And I'm just trying to move on. So what is the problem in moving on? So yes, it is also a biggest of the myths that is there. So these were the myths that I realized in my experiences that I had, when I lost my loved ones, not just too many. So not even just one person, maybe there were so many people I lost in my life, maybe not physically, but emotionally, mentally. There's so many things that happened. So yeah, I mean, for me, grief is heavy. For me, I want to get out of the grief as much as possible, but before doing that, I want to sit with my grief. I want to understand that grief. Then there are, different stages that we also go through. There are about basically 4 or 5 stages that we go through as far as grief is concerned. So one is denial, second is anger, third is when we start bargaining, fourth is depression, fifth is acceptance. And it's not necessary that all of us go through the same stages of grief that I'm talking about. Maybe we just skip 2 or 3 stages and we just move out. Or maybe, in fact, there are some people who also resolve their grief without even going through any of these stages. But if you are going through these stages of grief, that's okay. It's also one of the experiences that we need to go through. So you don't have to be very scared of this, this grief, but you need to, take it out of your life as soon as possible. because it's like a roller coaster. There are many highs and lows. There are many ups and downs whenever, this kind of feeling is concerned. So what I did was, during that time, first I faced my own feelings. I started expressing myself, very creatively. Maybe I started I started writing a lot. I started coloring a lot. I started listening to the music a lot. I started dancing a lot. I tried to maintain all my hobbies because these were my hobbies and interests whereby I wanted to. And then the basic thing that I did was, I never let anybody rule over me. If somebody was telling me, Sharoo, come on, move on, get over it, I used to say, no, I'm not giving you any right to say that. My grief is my own. And you cannot tell me when to move on and when to go get over it. When it is time, when I accept everything, that will be the time when I'm going to move on. So let yourself free, whatever, let yourself feel free, whatever you want to feel, without any kind of an embarrassment or judgment. This is what I can tell you if you really want to come out of your grief. And do not let it become a complicated grief, which is the last thing that I want to request and tell you, everybody. Because if the grief becomes a complicated grief means when it becomes the center stage of your life, when the pain is absolutely constant and severe, when it keeps coming back to you, when it keeps resuming your life and taking the steering of your life, when you keep suffering from this grief, when you are stuck in this intense state of mourning, that is what makes it more complicated. And I know nobody wants to, make this grief a complicated one. So don't let this feeling of emptiness, or don't let this feeling of grief overpower you. That's what I can just, conclude my session with. So in case if somebody wants to share any experience of theirs, because right now I told you what I learned from my grief. Now, if there's somebody who wants to add on it, or who wants to say something about it, you're most welcome. I would really be happy to listen to all of you. So thank you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much. Jean Energy.
Namaste, Sharoo. It has been so long. Namaste to all of them. Yes, I think I lost my dad when I was very young, maybe 6 or 7 years, I don't know. And I had that picture because that time I had not understood it was death. All I knew was they had shown us the body from somebody else's terrace. I was just telling, I saw my eldest sister crying around the body was covered. I just was telling people next to me, tell Akka not to, disturb Appa because he's very angry. If he gets angry, he will kick. This is how, only that picture I remember about, my father's death. And after that, what followed was, I just can't explain in words. It was so much, I still feel when I recollect those moments, what followed after that. We didn't know what is death, first of all. Then what all happened later after that, one after the other, we got caught. And also my mother's family lost so many, at home, one after the. And I still remember crystal clear, everybody crying, and it is something when I remember about death, something happens in the tummy, very uneasy feeling. That death means so fearful. I used to get bad dreams. Only imagining, or I don't know. I used to have nightmares, literally, because one after the other we saw in the family so many deaths. So I think we were, I don't think so. We didn't know that should be, accepted like this in a certain way. It is part and parcel of life. it was unacceptable, actually. Nobody wants that. That is how it all. And that crying, all that, it still was lingering. But, when Patri sir's enlightenment hour, from there it started for me, healing of this. That we can even heal this, I never knew. I never knew there existed some inner child. So from my process started when I heard about him. Death means new life, new costume. And also I heard about BK Shivani ma'am's so many videos after that. When I was so surprised, I think I was carrying those for 30 long years, all those memories, they had never washed, and we never knew how to heal them. That basically, that is this one. So, and also in the family, we were told ladies should be independent economically, because like this, it may happen, we may end up losing somebody. And that, suffering starts because we are not economically dependent, all those, So I think, and also next step was when I attended that series done by Beam, which helped me to, it helped me to such an extent, ma'am, you will not believe. I started writing my grief. I cried. Of course, I have torn so many pages, but still, somehow, slowly it started healing. And death is a part and parcel of life, and we should enjoy it as we enjoy birth. And the best example was somebody had passed in the, PSSM family, and how they played instruments, that family I remember. When I saw that happening before my eyes, I was awestruck.
That was Shastri sir's family, yeah.
Yeah, Shastri sir. So I think I got the courage to face the death from that family, actually. And how our thoughts are about death, it is all trauma kind, It is one after the other one, a link, a chain of links, So I think I owe a lot to Beam family, Patri sir, and to get out of that and to come to the acceptance. Thank you. And today you're talking about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nanaji. I'm so glad that after 30 years of your journey with this grief, you are free from it, from this emotion. I'm so glad that you were able to free yourself from the shackles of this, emotion. So I'm so glad.
Thank you so much. I'm not fearful now, actually.
Good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nanaji. Thank you so much. I'm really, really very happy for you. Thank you. Shukriya. Thank you so much. Wow, amazing. So recently what happened was I was watching this series that has come on Netflix. I love watching different genre and different series. So it was called The Sandman. I'm a very very kiddish from inside, like a kid. So I just feel like watching all these DCs and Marvels series and all that stuff. So there was yesterday itself, or maybe day before, I just watching this, and there was something about this death that the main character was talking about. So there is a death that there's a girl called Death. She is Death basically, and the way they have portrayed it, so beautiful. And she's caressing everyone whom she is taking to the other dimension. And the last thing that she said was that death is such a beautiful gift that nobody wants to accept, but in the end they get it anyway. So it reminded me of last week's session of mine, where Mridula ji also said that death is a gift. So it made me wonder, that, yeah, I mean, death is kind of a gift, but which we sometimes, we don't want to take that, maybe we are so scared of this death that we just don't want this to come up to us. But now, with a lot of understanding, we slowly and gradually we are understanding, yes, as Mridula ji said, that death is a gift. So yes, death is a gift as well for us, just like the birth is a gift to us, to the world. Similarly, our death is also a gift to the other worlds, other dimensions as well. So I just wanted to share this this beautiful thing that just came up. So thank you so much for listening. So anybody else wants to say? Yes, Madhvi.
It's me again, Sharoo. So, she said just now, the who was it? I don't know.
Nanaji.
Nainaji. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Nainaji is like especially the Enlightenment on No Death, the series actually.
Yeah.
When my mom died, and my friend actually said that I can join the meditation classes, not the UK meditation classes, basically. And it is in the 9:30 time zone actually for Germany. And then I used to sleep off. Like I attended only, that is the first meditation class I attended. I never attended the meditation at all because I'm so chatty, and I'm also like a kid like you, and I'm always on the way, on the road, on the activities, but never being calm. Only while praying a little bit calm, but again in the prayer also I'll start singing and I'll start doing a lot many things there. But calmness is something which is away from my life actually. But my friend told me, maybe this helps, Madhvi, just attend some of the classes. And I am not in any groups actually, like not the meditation, but in any groups, like all my friend circles, because I have my own little world. And there's only one ISKCON group is there. That's the only group so she said that only because of me, please attend. Then I started attending the evening sessions for UK, and then I started sleeping. As soon as I attended it feels so nice, and I used to sleep well because there was so much pain or so much grief, I couldn't even sleep. Because I don't know what I should do without mom. I mean, we came across losing the dad. Like Nainaji said that she also lost, and even we lost our dad in a very young age. Then mama took over us. So for us, mom and dad is only mom. So we didn't lose that. Yeah, yes, I still miss my dad, but that loss or that something, she filled up that, like the dad's whatever dad needs to give, everything she acted both the roles. And then mom became so attached. It's not only me, all the three. Like my two brothers are still struggling. I don't know how to make them to come out, but they are still struggling. They are still in a grief, and they're still, my elder brother is not coming out of the room also. So, but I came out. This enlightenment on no death, the Madhu was taking early in the mornings, like at 6 o'clock. And me, I was not sleeping the whole night. I can't used to wake up at 6 o'clock. And then just because of one class I attended, the way she was explaining and the way she presented, I just woke up only for her, not even for what meditation classes are or what the session she's going to take, only to look at her face. Just I inspired myself, I motivated myself that, okay, I have to attend her class, or maybe I have to see her. So every day I used to wake up, like all the, I think more or less 39 days or 42.
Yeah, I remember you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I attended almost 35 days, I think, 35 to 32 days without a break. And every session was a new topic. I don't know how the PSS and Beam family has gathered all those tips and, the sessions to put it in a regular series. That really helped a lot, really. Like to understand what is death, and to understand how to come out of that death, and how we face the death, how the near experience of death, all of those sessions were so helpful. Yeah, that even I think my article was also printed in that, like how I could overcome. And it was really great. Actually, after joining the PSSM, I tried to open myself, and I tried to talk myself. And even if I need to cry, I just cry. You have seen many sessions where I was literally crying.
Yeah.
I used to hide my tears. I never used to open or cry or show my emotions so boldly. I don't laugh also so openly in front of a group, because you don't know what the other people think about. Like being a woman, they have restricted in the family, saying that you cannot laugh like that because they might feel guilty, or they might feel something different. Please don't. So they suppressed me in every way, actually. So I don't show my emotions so freely, like even crying or yelling or even laughing. So that all, again, when I came to this group, I felt that, okay, I can breathe now, or I can really talk so freely, or I can, without any thinking in the mind, I can just talk like without hesitation. Really, that helped me really a lot. Like to overcome the fears of death, and to overcome my own fear of death. I too had that, my own death. Oh, because I have a family, I have that fear. When I am gone, oh, what will happen to my daughter? She's alone. Oh, I have to live for not for myself, but I have to live for her. That fear also I had in me. Even that also went away, because it's fine if I need to leave, if I need to go. She has her own way. She has everyone. But she's still young. She's just 12 years old. So I feel that I have to be present. I have to live because she needs me. So this kind of a fear, I don't know how to explain it, but this fear is also there. But slowly I understood that death is nothing. Death is, it's a simple journey from one direction to the other dimension. And yeah, I really understood that concept. And thank you so much for bringing up this concept and listening my stories, everyone. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No. Every experience for us is very precious and very valuable. So I'm really glad that Madhavi always express yourself now, because I've seen your journey and I know what sort of a person you were and what you have become now. So I'm really glad that you could and you could, tell everybody your story. So thank you so much, Madhavi. Thank you. Yes. Anybody else? Mridulaji, you want to say something because your mic is off?
Yes, I
Okay.
just
Yes.
find the hand button.
Okay.
I tried to think for that, actually. Yeah, I'm just listening, I mean, death is a gift, but grief is something else to unpack, So I think we forget the minute we're born, we have an end date. We get distracted and lost in the activity of life, or maybe we're in denial that we're not here forever. This is a part of the process of we come and then we'll go. But the part of living life here, we have attachments. And so even though we, can understand maybe or know the process of death, emotionally, it takes some time, because I'm hearing all the emotion, fear, sadness, all these things take some time to unpack, and it may take an entire lifetime. There's no time limit. We just end up probably absorbing it and living with that. And sometimes we come to acceptance. But I don't know if we ever not feel the loss of someone because they were part of our life. That's what I don't think I went through the denial or bargaining stage. I don't know if everybody goes through every stage, but I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember what my father's life was like, and I'm trying to remember all the details. But it's unfortunate that we get so distracted in life, even those details are lost. So I think we fear all these things, am I going to lose what memory we have? Because in actuality, our whole life is just pieces and bits of memory till the end. And some people don't even have that with other diseases, when they lose that. Because who are they? We have proof of that. When people have Alzheimer's and other diseases, the person is physically there, but they don't have any memory of any life that they lived. So what is that? you know, so there's so much to unpack here. It's a very good discussion. Everybody's right in their feeling because they're going through their own journey. You know,
Absolutely.
our journey is our journey. We have to validate that. And, you know, and that's the truth. That's our truth. So what's our truth may not be somebody else's truth, and that's perfectly okay. But and the time it takes is perfectly okay. Whatever emotions we go through is perfectly okay. I don't think we can set a limit. Well, maybe next year I'll feel better. Maybe, who knows, you know, when next year comes, what feelings come, and what, you know, sometimes somebody says, I smelled something and I thought about my mother, or I ate something and I remembered my aunt. You know, things like that will happen throughout our life. So but it's very hard to unpack the emotion, because as human beings we have these emotions, and it's very hard for us to let go of the emotions. But over time, I think with our own life, we come to the acceptance that we're all finite. You know, we're not infinite beings. So I don't know, just some thoughts came through when I heard people talking.
Yes, absolutely, Mridulaji. Thank you so much, because as you said that yes, it is our grief, and no matter what time it takes for us to accept, that is absolutely okay. And I think Nanaji is a living testimony of that, as she said that it took her 30 years to come out of this grief. And it was just not 1 year or 2 years time, so it was 30 years. Or sometimes even I have seen people moving with this grief to the next world as well. It is just not that that they are not able to cope up with the grief that they have lost their loved one. For example, my grandfather, my dad, he left his body in 2019, and my grandfather, he was not able to take the grief of his own son dying in front of him. And it was the next year that in 2000, sorry, not the next year, in 2019 itself, after 6 months, he also left his body. So and he went with that grief, that I saw the fire of my son in front of me in my eyes. And I absolutely, I knew that he's going to go with this grief there, and he's going to, I don't know whether he has healed himself or not, because I haven't yet seen him, my granddad. So I haven't yet interacted. I don't think so I will ever be, because he never comes to me as a spirit guide or that way. But I definitely hope that he does heal himself. So yeah, grief is a very, very important and a very deep subject, and grief is a very deep emotion that is there in I think most of us, because most of us have lost someone or something, so that make us grieve. So yeah, thank you, Mridulaji, for your valuable inputs and your experience. Thank you so much. So yeah, anyone else?
Sharuji, I just want to say one
Ji.
word to Mridulaji as well. Like when I was very, very sad, or whenever I used to cry or bust in the sessions, she used to call me back actually, and just to talk, not to talk about this, what is we discussed, but just to talk about our stories and everything. That also helped me a lot, actually. I really want to personally thank in the group that people, not only they just discuss or things we come across, but they just being there, like just to talk or to give a shoulder,
True.
to lie on, I really felt and really happy for having a Beam family, especially in that time period, especially when my mom lost. And it's a journey of 1.5 years. And I'm really thankful for each and everyone, actually. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madhvi. Thank you so very much. So anybody else, before we wind up this session, is there anything else anybody wants to say?
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you to Madhavi for saying that. That's so sweet. It's just something that, I just felt like I needed. I think the thing is we don't need to really express our emotions sometimes. That's my my feeling. I don't know how everybody feels, but sometimes just talking about the person because I mean, for me especially, I feel like sometimes, I feel like, did this life happen? Was my father there? That's why I'm trying to recollect every memory of him, because we lose that. And some of the fear is that loss of losing what we had with that person. And when we talk again about that person, in a way, what people say, it may be true. We never really lose that person because they always live in our hearts and our minds, whatever we can remember. We never really, we lost their physical presence, but we have all these memories of them. And sometimes, it's just so nice to listen to, because everybody has a story. And so it's so nice, Sharoo, that you're giving this platform for people to come out and discuss, because everybody's experience is important. Everybody's experience is valid. So,
Absolutely.
and it's the brave people that came forward, and the brave people that are listening. So anybody can come forward and share, and and one of the things I think, over life, when I was younger, I was very judgy, in my teens, and everything somebody says. But over the years, we become different. We become compassionate. We try not to, judge people and accept for who they are. Because, I'm not you, you're not me. We come from a different outlook, and every outlook is correct because that's our life experience. So, so it's really nice that there's an open platform to kind of discuss. And and I don't know, I was really touched by Madhavi that day, so I do call her sometimes. But and I call other people too, but I just do it, when I feel like they, need my voice and need some comfort. But this whole platform is open for everyone to come forward and share whatever they want to. And I'm really, this is wonderful, Sharoo, that you're sharing this today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mridulaji. Thank you so very much for your kind words. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, as she said, the compassionate listening is also very, very important during these times. And we don't want to listen to the other person. As Mridulaji said, that we all have stories. And sometimes, a person just needs a listening ear. That's all. Where we are compassionately listening to the other person. That's all, nothing else. And rather than just putting our point forward, right, rather than putting our story in front of the person or giving it on the platter to that person, we can just be in silence and just listen to that person, and just maybe hold a hand of that person and say that, hey, I'm here, it's okay, everything is good and everything is going to be all right. So yeah. So thank you, Mridula ji, for being that person for Madhavi at that time when she really needed a lot. So I'm really grateful and thankful to you that you were there with her. So thank you so much, Mridula ji. And thank you, Madhavi, for sharing this wonderful experience. Thank you so much. So is there anyone else?
Sharoo ma'am, I want to pay my deep gratitude to Beam Group, because I have seen there is so much of sincerity, genuinity. It is not that easy to come up and share our personal things, but this has been strength to many, many, many of us. I must not forget, I got so much, that fakir sessions and that that all these have given me so much strength to face the reality of life. Thank you so much for all the masters who are, doing wonderful job here. Thank you, and Madhu and Ramji, hats off. Thank you. And
Thank
all
you.
other masters, Nilimaji. I don't want to miss anybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nanaji. Thank you so much. All your wishes are reaching to the people because these are coming from the heart straight away. So whatever is being spoken through the heart reaches to the people for whom it is meant for. So yeah, it is there. It has reached to so many. Yeah. Thank you so much, Nanaji. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Sharoo,
Shada Garu. Thank you, Kinariji. Ji, Mridula ji. Yes.
Oh, I just want to say one more thing that, so as, I was able to be there during my time of some grief, there was a wonderful person who's actually there today listening. So I want to share my appreciation to Kinariji, who was my compassionate listener, and she still is for my time at this time. So yeah, this is a wonderful group, and somebody always, that connects, reaches out. So it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So, and I love this family. I feel like we're part of the family, but I wanted to share that too.
Thank you, Kinariji. Thank you, Kinariji, for being that, the heart and the compassionate listener to Mridulaji when she actually wanted, maybe a listener, maybe a compassionate listener, or a person who could just be there in her own pain and suffering. So thank you, Kinariji, for being there for Mridulaji. Thank you so much. So yes, okay. So is there anyone? Anything else? So before we say good nights and before we end this session, I just want everybody to, just keep smiling. Life is beautiful and death is beautiful too. So between this birth and death, whosoever comes into our lives, I would request all of you to be to just shower love onto them and to shower your attention, give your attention to them, your love, your compassion, and your empathy to each one whosoever enters into your life. So because between this birth and death, there's a lot more that can happen and that we can make it happen. So yeah, thank you so much for being here and being a compassionate listener. Thank you so much, Sharda Garu, Kinariji, Vindhyaji. And thank you so very much for all of you to be present here in this session. I'm so glad that all of you could take out some time and be here in this session. Thank you, Sashank, for being here. Even if you have a lot of work in your hand, but still you always make it a point to be, there when, Madhu and Ram, they are not present. Thank you, Anu. Thank you, Mridulaji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sharuji.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So yes, good night and have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. And keep smiling and just shower love and light to everyone. So thank you so much, everybody. We'll meet again with a beautiful and a different session with our family. Thank you so much. Bye-bye and good night. Thank you, Kinariji. Thank you. Yes, thank you for making me that. Thank you.
Yes, friends, thank you so much. Then we'll meet tomorrow in the morning meditation. Good evening and good day.